Hello there. Today I'm going to take a look at a classic style of wine from Western Australia from the founding producer of the region, Vasse Felix. So this is their classic Semillon Sauvignon Blanc blend from the 2022 vintage. Now Vasse Felix do also make an estate Semillon Sauvignon, but this I think is actually a relabelling of what they refer to as their classic dry wine. So it's a style of wine that they've been making since 1987. Semillon Sauvignon, although it's a blend that you regularly find in Bordeaux, actually in the New World is pretty much unique to Western Australia. Vasse Felix was founded in 1967 by Dr Thomas Cullity, and it saw its first vintage released in 1971. Margaret River is probably most famous for its Cabernet Sauvignons, maybe it's Chardonnays, but actually this style of Semillon Sauvignon, as I say, is one that it has made its own. The region in Western Australia lies about 4 hours drive south of Perth on the coast, facing out to the cold Southern Ocean. So you get beautiful sunshine hours, but a real cooling influence from the Indian Ocean, and you get humidity and a climate pattern that's not unlike that found in Bordeaux. The vineyards that this comes from are a few kilometres inland, so there's a real maritime influence moderating the temperature in this region. This wine is a blend of 70% Semillon with 25% Sauvignon Blanc. The fruit's grown organically, and it's fermented with, they refer to it as natural yeasts. In fact, the majority of the yeast is from a select they've made from their own yeasts on the fruit, and that's been cultured subsequently. Although a small portion of the fruit is allowed to go through a natural wild fermentation. Fermentation goes on in stainless steel tanks, and the wine ages for a short time with its yeast lees. There's no oak influence on this whatsoever, so fairly straightforward. Temperature controlled fermentation in stainless steel. 2022 was a vintage that was quite low yielding. They had a fairly cool, wet start to the year, which led to late flowering. Summer was warm and dry, and through January and December the weather was really good to ripen this small crop of grapes that has set. And actually when they picked them, they found there was quite surprising sort of freshness and elegance remaining in the grapes. So a small but high quality vintage. The wine is noted as being vegan friendly, so presumably it's unfined. So let's see what we make of the wine, shall we? I mean, it doesn't have a particularly deep colour. There's a medium lemon yellow there. As I swirl it, it's not particularly viscous. The alcohol is just 12.5%, so it's not creating a lot of body there in itself. So let's see what we make of the aromas, shall we? The aromas have a predominantly quite grassy, almost gooseberry note. There's a sort of a fresh green element to those aromas. There is a slight sort of dairy note, maybe creaminess behind the grassiness. Touches of sort of lemony freshness, a little minerality, but it's not a particularly pronounced or complex nose. So let's have a taste. Gosh, that's pungent, very sort of grassy, crisp, green flavours. There's almost a sort of there's a bit more of a depth. It's not just grassy and light. There's an almost sort of asparagus note to the mid palate there. It's a medium-bodied wine. There is a creamy nature to it, and that's probably coming from the little bit of lees aging it gets. And that's giving a slightly creamy texture, and yet the acidity is still lovely on the sides of the palate there. It's actually quite a classic sort of style. I find it's quite easy in blind tastings to confuse this sort of style of wine. It's so restrained with something from the Loire Valley, from the central vineyards. It's a fresh, clean, quite mineral sort of style of dry white. So I don't think you're too far off mistaking it for lean, cool climate, old world Sauvignon Blanc. It's certainly a style that you don't see very much elsewhere in Australia. You might see something, I suppose, from the Adelaide Hills, cool climate in Sauvignon Blanc there. But yes, so a really fresh, crisp, clean aperitif sort of style from Western Australia. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you find this interesting. Do please feel free to like and share the video. Do please leave your comments below. We'd love to know what you think about the wines, about the tastings we're doing, and anything else related to them. Please also do sign up and follow us on YouTube. It would be great to see you there. And then hopefully you'll join us again for another tasting really soon. Goodbye now.